Laura Ingraham are totally fine with Trump saying, we are going to shake down a news organization because I don't like you.
Yeah.
Which is what's happening here, and because I want you to say certain things. I want you to report a certain way.
There is no problem with free speech in America. What we do have a problem with are people who don't speak truthfully, who are interested more in narratives than truth, and who are using what used to be journalism for activism. We do have a problem with that.
That happens.
But there's no ban on free speech. The free speech problems came in the last administration.
That's Republican Scott Jennings calling out a group of mainstream media people on CNN. He criticized them for acting like free speech is being attacked by conservatives, while ignoring how, for the past 20 years, they've tried to silence anyone who didn't agree with them or the Democratic Party. Welcome to Nurk News. I'm Nurkish. It seems like the political left is now interested in free speech again, but only because they think it might help them. For years, they shut down anyone who questioned their views. But now, they seem to want a fresh start. Yes, the same media that banned opposing opinions, censored news about Hunter Biden, and exposed private citizens is now pretending to care about the First Amendment. Here's Scott Jennings calling them out for pretending.
The 60 Minutes host was brutally real about the state of America, one that there is some evidence to back up. But despite their affinity for free speech, MAGA didn't want to hear it.
Scott's still a whiny, liberal, and still bitter, oblivious to the fact that it was the legacy media's lazy, agenda-driven coverage that helped create the very conditions that he now blames Trump for, like censorship and racial hatred.
It is interesting to me that, first of all, things must be very bad at 60 Minutes to see these CBS anchors who are normally pretty calm going this far.
Look, I know he sued them because he believes he was treated unfairly, or they treated Kamala Harris's interview unfairly and tried to put their thumb on the scale of the presidential election. They're having conversations about settling it. We'll see how it shakes out. I actually think he has a point about it. And if you've watched 60 Minutes for 5 minutes over the last several years, you would know it's not fair. I mean, this is one of the shows. This is one of the outlets that conservatives would point to most often to say, this is the state of American journalism. It's only here to try to hurt Republicans, hurt conservatives, hurt Donald Trump. I mean, Alyssa, you worked in this field for many years. That is the prevailing attitude among conservatives. But on the free speech issue, I don't know what America Scott Pelley is living in. We have more speech now than ever. I mean, you just said you're doing all kinds of speaking engagements and podcasts, and I salute you. You're speaking all the time.
He didn't say there was a ban on free speech. What he said was there are people who want to tell the truth feel like they cannot tell the truth. We see this all the time, everywhere, and you know that people are living in fear.
I actually see it totally different.
It takes a lot of nerve to act like being criticized or facing the results of your own actions is an attack on free speech, especially when you spend the last 10 years trying to silence people who don't agree with you. Trump suing CBS isn't some kind of authoritarian move. Honestly, it's a long overdue step toward accountability. CBS edited footage, lied to the public, and now they're upset because they got caught. And that's just a small part of the problem with the mainstream media. Even the company that owns CBS knows they're in trouble and is already talking about settling the case. While some on the left are claiming that journalism is under attack, they're the ones who turn the media into a tool to support Democrats and silence conservatives, especially on extreme progressive issues. Here's Scott Jennings calmly pointing out the truth about something many Americans are scared to talk about, worried they'll be attacked by liberals if they speak up.
Science behind this hasn't been studied enough or talked about enough for us to make a real full opinion. I do agree girls' sports are for girls.
You said this hasn't been studied enough to know that, look, we've got millions of years of study. Men and women are different, and that's why it's unfair to put boys in girls' sports. We don't need to have any more biological studies. It is fundamentally unfair.
But do you see, genuinely curious, any accommodations that are reasonable? You have a 16-year-old who wants to participate in sports. In your mind, is there any way that can happen that is fair?
Of course. Have the people participate with their own biological sex. Boys in boys sports, girls in girls sports. It's worked for a very long time in this country.
But it's not that simple anymore, Scott. That's where we are. So what do you do when it's not?
80% of the country.
But it's not that anymore. So what do you do with the 20%? Do we ignore them?
Yeah,
do
pretty
we
much. I mean, it's an 80-20 issue.
Scott, everybody's ignoring that.
And you just said it was a minuscule number.
It's a minuscule number.
Why do we have to upend?
We don't have to. The reason why I said it was a minuscule number, Scott, was because I don't think it's fair that you're scaring people at home thinking that boys are trying to compete in girls' sport by the droves and that this is going to take over, and you were scaring people at home. It's just not happening, Scott. It's not happening.
This is like the most competitive track meet in the country.
It's pretty ironic how the same people who claim to be brave truth tellers suddenly start interrupting, avoiding eye contact, twisting numbers, and using emotional tricks the moment someone challenges their views. That's because the mainstream media's version of truth is often misleading. Scott Jennings is absolutely right about this issue. It's not just one isolated case. It's widespread. The numbers prove it. Over 600 female athletes have lost 890 medals in more than 400 events. That's not just a rare situation. Girls are losing spots on podiums and missing out on scholarships because they're competing against biological males. But the media keeps pretending it's not a big deal, using confusing language and ignoring the facts. They talk a lot about inclusion, but forget about fairness, safety, and basic biology. The same people who cause national outrage over tiny issues are now mocking women who speak up about this real problem. And when women like Peyton McNabb or Riley Gaines have the courage to speak out, they're attacked or silenced. What's funny is that now the left is suddenly worried about free speech and people being scared to talk during Trump's time in office. But they only care when it affects them. It fits their narrative of being victims. They don't really care about regular people losing their jobs over opinions, or about female athletes, or about parents worried for their kids, unless it supports their views. So what do you think? Will liberals convince people that they care about free speech again? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. This has been NERC News. Thanks for watching.